Well, nervous, as I guess you would for any test, but excited that we're on the verge of something special as a team. 4-0 would be an absolute drumming of the second best team in the world. So if we can pull that off, which I think as a group we're pretty confident we can if we reproduce the cricket that we have of late, that would be a fantastic achievement and something really well deserved for the team.
So there's no lack of motivation, is there, just because you've won the series?
No, not at all. I think for the guys that have just come into the team, the motivation is to perform, so you hold your place in the team, and for the older guys, probably at the moment it's much the same. Then again, for the fast bowlers, they've been brilliant, and there's going to be a little bit of competition when the injury situation sorts out, and they want to put their best foot forward, so to speak, as well.
Adelaide Oval's pretty good for batsmen. What's your record like over there?
It is a pretty good place to bat, but sometimes that can get you a little bit of false hope. My first class record isn't magical at the Adelaide Oval, to say the very least, but I've scored a few runs there over the years. It's a good place once you get in, but as an opening batsman you have to come out and face a new ball every innings, so the bowlers are at their freshest. The Indian bowlers have some great skills with the new ball, so it's very easy to say flat wicket Adelaide, you've got to score some runs. Sometimes that's not always the case.
Elevated to test matches, what has that done to your game now?
Well, I don't think it's only linked to my game. I'm playing exactly the same as I have probably for the last 18 months. It's just on a bigger scale against better bowlers, so it's done wonders for my confidence, but my game technically feels pretty much how it has for the last couple of years.
You're surprised how well you've been able to assimilate yourself to test level and get the scores and get those half centuries already?
Yeah, yes and no. I think it's such a positive sign for the group that someone can come into the group, feel so comfortable in amongst everyone. I think that's half the battle going into a new team. Once you feel comfortable within the team, then I think that's when you start performing. And so to come in and feel comfortable amongst the guys, some legends of Australian cricket, I think that's probably been the key for me performing. Not so much the cricket stuff. I was in pretty good form leading into the series. I guess the only disappointing aspect is to have 2 50s rather than 200s. I sort of pride myself on being able to score the big score once I'm set, so that's been a disappointing aspect, but hopefully can try and rectify that this week.
I was going to say, have you thought much about that 100? What did it mean to you? What did it feel like?
Yeah, I think I've probably thought about it too much the 2 times that I have been in. There was that moment in Perth, I sort of looked up and thought, I'm flying again this morning. If I keep going like this, I'll be 100 by lunch, and all of a sudden you're sitting on your bum back in the change room. So I think the key to those big scores is just continue with your rhythms and your mental routines, not look at the scoreboard too much, maybe bat for a bit more time, and the runs flow, and those big scores are sort of built around that even tempo rather than getting it too carried away.
Have you given much thought to when Shane Watson's fit and he comes back, sort of where he slots into the side? Obviously you're playing beautifully at the moment. It'd be tough if they ever thought about dropping you, but I guess Watto's got to fit in somewhere.
He does. He's probably the best player in the country, so they certainly do have to fit him in. It's no different to any other team when guys are coming back. You've got to hold your place through weighted runs. And how I see my job is to make it so difficult for the selectors that Shane Watson has to bat somewhere else in the batting order. That's simply done by me going out and scoring runs, and the rest takes care of itself. If they're having a discussion, Shane Watson should be opening the batting, then I'm not doing my job, and that's the nature of the game.
Do you feel like you've probably done that already with this?
2 50s in 3 games, probably not. That's okay. That's a pass, but it's not brilliant. I'm not. So that's why there's excitement for this Test match as well, to really cement that spot, and make that a really difficult conversation before the tour of the West Indies.
How do you deal with that pressure and knowing that someone could come back and all that kind of stuff?
It's not. A few people ask, generally how you're dealing with the pressure. To me, it's feeling like a game of cricket. The bowler's running in, I've got a bat in my hand. That's really familiar, and that familiarity is held me in really good stead. And as soon as you take your eye off the ball, poor cliche, and start thinking Shane Watson's coming back, I have to perform, and put yourself under more pressure, I think you're behind the 8 ball already. So It really is about me sticking to being myself. I've got David Warner at the other end that will be himself, as we saw last week. I've got to play how I need to play to score runs, and I'm really confident if I do that, then I will score the runs, and Shane Watson will be in the team, but hopefully not at the top of the order.
Yeah, do you feel that you and Dave are on the verge of sort of establishing a really unique opening partnership in terms of the way you guys play?
I definitely think there's a uniqueness there. I don't think anyone has played Test cricket quite the way David Warner plays Test cricket. Maybe Virender Sehwag, but no one has really played Test cricket in Australian conditions how he's playing Test cricket. The big challenge for David is now to harness that, have the clarity that he had the last Test. There was, from the other end, you could just see how clear he was in his own mind that that's what was going to happen. There was no fear, and he played so well. So as a partnership, there definitely is a bit of chemistry there, but it's our job to set the game up. It wasn't an extraordinary partnership. It was a good partnership, and one that hopefully moving forward we can create a special vibe together.
You're aware of recent history, I guess, with players getting in and out of time. I mean, Brad Hodge a few years ago got 200 and then couldn't stay in. It shows, I guess, the policy in the past always been last man in, first man out.
Well, that was the policy of the last selection panel. There's some huge changes. We've been through 3 selection panels since Brad Hodge was dropped after 200. And I think there are other issues as well that come into whether someone's in the team. They're fit in the team, what they're doing around the group, how valued they are in the field. It's not just about the runs you score. It's particularly at the moment how the Australian team's trying to build a culture moving forward. There's more ways to contribute than just scoring runs.
Just one on the sort of state of the rankings. We saw England last night get done, and you guys obviously have a goal to get to number 1. Do you sense that it's there for the taking?
I think we do. 2 ways to answer the question. I think we sense there's something special happening in our change room, and we can feel that that momentum building, for lack of a better word, towards the Ashes. But we also understand there are some huge series in between for the team to prove themselves. You don't go from 5th in the world to 1st in the world overnight. There are some big steps and improvement that need to happen, but we can kind of get a sense that that's happening, and that's exciting for a team moving forward. Sometimes when you're number 1, you can take your eye off the ball a little bit. England are excellent in their own conditions. They've played beautifully in England, they've played beautifully in Australia. They haven't played so beautifully on the subcontinent. I think that will be the challenge for them moving forward.
A bit of encouragement from the overnight results at Dubai?
Again, it's different conditions. It's a winter tour for them. They're coming off the back of no cricket. It's hot, it's very foreign. Spinners are working their magic. It's hard work, and it's also a good sign for world cricket that the 4th and 5th best teams can knock off the 2 best teams in the world. That's exciting. We need a strong test and competitive test arena for the game to survive. So I think it's a great result overnight, regardless of what we're trying to do as a team.
We read about the Ricky Ponting poster at your parents' place. Is that still up?
Yeah, the radio interview was yesterday. I walked into my parents' room yesterday afternoon to drop some gear off because I'm off back to Hobart after this test, and it just struck. I mentioned it as a passing comment to Ben Fordham yesterday on 2GB. It was a passing comment. That's how far your life can change in. Well, it's 10 years since I've lived at home, so it's not as though I'm 29 with Ricky Ponting's poster on the wall. But he was nicely settled in between Joey from Dawson's Creek, and he was looking pretty comfortable there.